Pixar is full of emotions, heart, and soul. But what does it do with that soul? Is it truly just entertainment? Or are we feeding great and fantastic eldritch beings? Probably just entertainment. But I thought it'd be fun to draw Pixar characters as eldritch horrors. And the first suggestion I got from chat was Kevin from Up. Now, Kevin is a delightful bird with, sort of goofy expressions and the like. And so I thought the best way to make him a horror was to take him and make him massive, bigger than you could ever imagine, and lurking around his dark forest, waiting for people to devour. And of course, in our image, as we worked out the shape and size, we got working on all the little details, like sort of very horrific, massive eyes, a dripping and drooling mouth, and some extra eyes, just for fun. Hey, I'm Patrick. If you've not been to the channel before, I'm an artist. I like drawing fun things with art. Having fun with art is my main goal, and today we're doing that, of course, with our Eldritch Horrors. I do lots of little challenges like this. I think they're good fun. I do them on live streams here on YouTube and over on Twitch. And, I like to edit them into these fun little time lapses. Thanks for being here. Make sure you subscribe and like and follow and all those things. Let me know if you're enjoying this and if you want to see more. For now, let's get back to our art piece here. You can see me working on the legs. I really wanted them to be very sort of spindly and horrifically shaped, as if they were not just sort of fun little toes, but really reaching for our esteemed characters up on the ledge. Hopefully you'll be able to recognize them. I decided to put some silhouettes of familiar characters in the bottom right. And yeah, we're just working on some ideas here. I thought maybe spikes, but that doesn't really work out in the end. And here are these characters. Let's see if you can recognize them from their silhouettes. Of course, we got the lovely Carl. And of course, oh man, what's the kid's name? The dog is Doug. I know that. What is the kid's name? Just Google this real quickly. Russell! Russell's his name. All right. Do you enjoy Up? I haven't watched it since the first time I watched it because, frankly, the opening 10 minutes is one of the most heartfelt and saddening moments in all of Pixar history. Is there a sadder moment in Pixar? Probably. Is it the one that connects with me the most? Yeah, I think it does. And I saw it years ago in theaters, and I've never looked back. Pixar is always fun to watch, but, they do, tread on some pretty sensitive areas. And so, you always got to be in the mood for a Pixar, just in case, because you're going to cry, right? You're going to cry. And it's those tears, I think, that power these eldritch beings, that this Kevin salivates for the tears of the innocent, the ones who call his name and seek him out. See me here trying to just experiment with some extra eyes on the feathering. I just wanted to get more horrific things in there because I'm on the edge of just drawing Kevin with more detail. And I wanted to get a little bit more horrific in my shaping here in the line art. I think it works all right. Certainly conveys something. And of course, this is all about getting the details in. It's a slow and steady process of some trial and error, some erasing, some figuring out. And that's kind of just the way my art process works. I draw all of these live, right? So I don't really get a lot of opportunity to critique myself or to, step away and come back to it. I do always render them one last time before they get in the YouTube video here. But in the time lapse, you only get to see those gut instincts. And sometimes it's horrible in a good way or a bad way. Here you can see me getting ready to get into this lower part of the body. I really wanted this to be real, turkey leg, giblet growing over the top level, layering of skin and flaps and pointy claws. And so we worked on that in the top and here in the bottom as well, just to really give it its own sort of unique character. Really make these gross legs. They say chicken legs, right? It's a sort of a negative comment about legs that are overly skinny. That's what I wanted here. This over-the-top leg, really just to gross out the form. What is your favorite Pixar movie? There are so many good ones out there. One of my favorites is, of course, Inside Out. That one always takes the cake. Real emotional stuff there. Getting my Disney and Pixar confused in my brain. I'm a sucker for Toy Story. 1 through 4, all excellent. And they're some of my favorites for sure. Most Pixar movies are great. There's one that I don't particularly like, which is Finding Dory, because I find it too stressful to just watch Dory get lost over and over again for like a few good hours. It's too much. Anyways, here's our Kevin from Up. I hope you enjoy. The next suggestion I got was Ember from Elemental. Now, this is one of the more recent Pixar films and a delightful art style, which I had to ruin by making this Eldritch horror being. This is the one that I think really gets to the Eldritch horror nature that I'm trying to convey out of all of them. I lean into the overly embellished shapes and the distortion of something that was once beautiful turns into something quite monstrous, and just really let it fly, especially in the render. I felt like I really managed to do some cool work with shadows and lighting in a way it's very different than my normal render. Let me know if you like the style that we get here. We could probably do more like this in the future. Are there other things that we should be turning into Eldritch beings? I know we did cryptids, mascots as cryptids, but are there other things, other cute characters that need to be Eldritch beings, or is there something else for us to think about here? For now, we're going to get going on the line art here. And it really was all about getting these wrinkle lines and detail lines in here, just so that things would land exactly the way I wanted them to. This is a style that is very different than my normal style. If you check out my stuff on Instagram or even just some of my other videos, I often land in a very cutesy style or cartoony style. And for these Eldritch horrors, I need to push that a little bit. And I think pushing yourself as an artist is a really big deal, really important, because you learn things by pushing yourself that you can always bring back to your core style and idea. So this to me was a great project to just sort of say, let yourself loose, push away your normal habits when it comes to drawing, and just try to do something and see if it works. And I don't think it works for all of them, but I do definitely enjoy the ones we got here. You see me trying to get these arms in here. It's a difficult balance trying to get this idea of fire body with fire limbs in such a way that's very compelling. And so you can see me trying to get her dress on here because she does wear like a deep blue dress. And so we're just trying to shape that in such a way that gives it a little bit more energy. I was kind of going for this like twisting form, and I think it sort of works out in the end. You can see me going back and trying to get some line thickness on some of these, because I realized once I got in there and really started working on some of the lines relative to the dress that these original lines were a little too thin, relatively speaking. We got lost in the dress. Well, on the bottom here, I really wanted this almost tentacle-like fire to be spreading out, suggesting that she's sort of moving along the ground rather than walking or something like that. Like as fire spreads along the ground, so does she. And I think we're just working on a few more line art bits, and we will have our Ember. Last but not least, I was given the suggestion of Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story, and wow, this one was a fun one to do. I really wanted to go for that sort of large, Cthulhu-esque looming winged creature effect. Now, I didn't quite land it exactly where I wanted to from the get-go, but where I ended up made me really happy. I wanted to go with this idea that in the movie, Buzz is kind of a scary being to someone like Woody, right? Someone who can come and replace him, sort of Invasion of the Body Snatchers type, right? Take his place in the world and sort of absorb his being into his own to become Andy's best toy. And so I thought it would be fun to not only draw Buzz here as this skulled figure looming in the shadows, but to have him above Woody, and Woody just sort of loosely sensing a future that's coming for him. I also decided that we would do a Mrs. Nesbit, if you will. That is to say, only one arm, and the other arm is missing, and instead there's a gaping hole, a maw to the unknown. You can see me here trying to get the idea of a hand reaching for where Woody will ultimately be. And it takes a little bit of nudging, but we get there. That's what sketching's for, right? Thought maybe long fingers would be good, but I don't think I ended up keeping those because it didn't quite work for Buzz. Nice little finger guns. I don't know why I thought that would be scary, but you know what? Sometimes you just try stuff and you hope for the best. And the nice thing about, working on a sketch is that you can always try something new next. And here I think we get closer to what I ultimately land on, this sort of reaching hand, clawing towards the form of Woody. And I realized that this one was going to be particularly menacing in its form, so I needed to create not a version of Woody that makes sense as Woody, but a version of him that is a sort of shaded version where you can get the sense of parts of him, but not all of him, because he's going to be in the dark shadows with this looming figure over top of him. So you can see me trying to sort of rough that in. I do a lot more work of it in the rendering, but I think what I got is kind of cool for like a realistic cowboy kind of vibe. You can see me trying to just sort of work that in rather nicely. And the rest is trying to just get the details of what this character would look like. And yeah, we get into the line art. Do you remember the first time you watched Toy Story? Man, that movie has been around for so long now that it must have shaped the childhood of so many children, Everybody has a little bit of like Sid fear, even though Sid is kind of like a pathetic joke and like, a really sort of tragic figure more than anything, just a product of a harsh upbringing and a child who maybe needs a little bit more love. But yeah, I think that Toy Story really revolutionized storytelling in film, and particularly children's movies, and brought about some of the most beloved characters of our age, particularly in that of Buzz and Woody. Who's your favorite? Is it Buzz or is it Woody? And why is it that one? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I think I like Woody more than I like Buzz. Buzz is cool and all, but I think Woody has been given the sort of emotional range of a really intriguing character. And his genuine love for others and for the people who are in his care as a toy really inspires me. I think he's great. I read Ed Catmull's sort of biography about the founding of Pixar, Ed Catmull being one of the three main founders. And he talked a lot about making sequels for Pixar and the idea that for Toy Story particularly, and I think for every one of the sequels, they really wanted to drive home the idea that they're not going to make a sequel just to make a sequel. They need a story that's compelling. And this idea for Woody in Toy Story 2 to be given the opportunity to spend the rest of his life with Andy, knowing that it would eventually come to an end and Andy would move on, versus having this sort of perfect life in Japan as a collector's item, revered and celebrated for the rest of his life, became a really compelling idea for the people who made Pixar, who made Toy Story and all the Pixar films. And I think it really does play out cool in Toy Story 2 to give Woody this sort of existential crisis. And it makes me really appreciate that film all the more, because I didn't fully appreciate it until much later in my life. It is the catch-22 of a Pixar film, right? That they really embrace life in both its hard parts and its good parts. And as a kid, you don't fully understand all of those emotions. And then as you grow up, you start to experience them in varying different ways. And it's really cool that this medium has shaped our understanding of emotion and feeling and all sorts of things through silly cartoon characters. And speaking of silly, you can see me here working in shadows, trying to really make this depth of field pull so that he's really in these dark shadows, not just, a colorful character, but something who is maybe even a little bit scary to see. You can see me trying to get those little, his torso has almost accordion-like shapes. That was what that was. And yeah, we get the wings going here, and I think we're basically done the line art. I think we also go for some shadows and some cool effects in the darkness. I don't know if that's still in the render here. Let's see. But yeah, I go about this one trying really hard to really push the effect. There's the darkness. And I think we pull in some cool sort of wavy line effects as well, just to put the terror on the scene and to really build out. You know, this reminds me of Julia Lepetite kind of styles. I think I drew a lot from her, particularly in my handsome man, Woody, trying to learn from the things I've watched on Drawfee. And here is our final reveal of Buzz Lightyear, looming there in the background. That's going to be it for our video today. I hope you enjoyed these creepy characters. I had a lot of fun drawing these on stream with folks. I love getting suggestions from people and doing these kinds of challenges because I like having fun with art. And you know what? So often we get too hung up on the idea of being perfect when we really should just be hung up on the idea of having fun together. That's what we're all about here on the channel. So please, if you like that, if you enjoyed the work you saw here, give me a subscribe and a like, and share this video with someone you know who might like it or who might want their characters from their childhood horribly ruined. Whatever you want to do. For now, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for being here. That's all that really matters. I just want to make the world a better place through some funny, dumb pictures. And so, yeah, till next time, keep being awesome. Bye.